Hai nhớ rồi nè, nhớ rồi đấy chúng bây giờ là sao lên sao tù nữa nói chị của thực sự chứ tới mà chưa có sự thảo mình gì hay sang cái gì xong đấy ạ thì giờ xong cứ bộ lý to nữa nè chị của chị ở của chị với tới mình chưa có sự thảo ha sẽ mà nói có thể sự thảo rất là chị nè ý chúng bây giờ là chơi một cái nữa chúng bây giờ nè nó chơi tốt dân là rất là library e để nó này ta tỏi anh cam cho nó ta cũng chỉ tốt số library nó tốt đấy lên tỏi nó là nè này là nó library thì mình sẽ chơi với cho có meeting để nó này nó thôi là chỉ tao mà không đây
nhân này đó chú cận nhân này
nhân đó
nhân nó lão chú tôi
yeah watch that spot there mày trông lắm yeah yeah mà yeah
If you are here disrupted and make this space unsafe for all the folks present, we are asked that if you could leave or will be escorted out of this building. We want to hear from all of you and will open a public hearing to collect your thoughts and comments. The public hearing will stay open until 8:05, but we will keep it open as long as we need it to. Our programs will end at 8:30. Media covers. Snowden heard for all press inquiry only accepted media inquiry at the beginning of the event. So if you are here, from our medias, Snowden, can I have where are you? So that's just okay. So this is our chair for community justice for year. So for media, if any one of you wanted to have any questions you want to ask, this is the person to go to. So first of all, welcome everyone. Again, I understand why we are here. Immediate family member from Xiong's family, Nicolai. She will be our first guest speaker representing the family to talk about what's the situation. Thank you. And Nicolai.
Hello everybody, good evening. Thank you for being here today. My name is ncaaj, and I'm here today to speak on behalf of my Xiong family. I am the daughter of Xiong, brother of Xiong. He, my uncle, was the last surviving brother to my dad. My family is heartbroken and grief-stricken. Some of us are still unable to process what happened that night when we lost our uncle, Xiong. Ye's life was unjustly taken by St. Paul police officers, Nu Shucha and Abdi Rahman Dahir. There are also officers present at the scene, 3 who identified as Xiong, whose body camera footage has not yet been released. I'm here today to demand change in how the St. Paul Police Department trains its officer in a crisis. What happened to my uncle should never happen to anyone else. It's baffling that people would even question the excessive use of force that police use every day. Our society glorifies the police in ways that blind people to think they're protected. How is it that police that is supposed to serve the citizens of St. Paul not know their own community? How is that they didn't know low-income seniors, disabled individuals who live at Winslow Commons? How is it that when they charged in with guns ablaze, they did not see that, calmly standing and was speaking to an individual within 10 feet of another, causing no threat or harm to either one of them? Why didn't they correctly assess the situation? Why didn't they let him retreat into his apartment? Why didn't they de-escalate the situation? Why wasn't a mental crisis team called? And why weren't a less lethal weapon used in a time of crisis? We want answers. And why do Hmong, Black and Brown, and other people that look like you and me continue to die unjustly by the excessive use of force that the police use daily on our people? My uncle died a brutal death at the hands of St. Paul Police Department in less than 2 minutes. In less than in my speech tonight. My uncle, Xiong, should still be alive today. The media and St. Paul Police Department painted my uncle like he was a dangerous man, but in truth he was kind, warm, gentle, and he loved his grandchildren immensely. He was an elder, a part of our home community, a disabled, hard of hearing, secret war veteran. My family and I seek justice for Xiong and demand a police reform. This is a moment for Mayor Melvin Carter and Police Chief Axel Henry to truly step up and create the healing process, not only for my family, but all families whose lives have been affected by excessive force and police brutality.
Thank you, Nikolai. Thank you for that message. And our next guest speaker from the Community Justice for Xiong, Vajaya, and Eastside Council Member nceeg.
I'm going to be doing the Hmong language, and Nelsie will do the English. Giờ yêu mất thả cho biết giờ không nhiệt chủng chỉ tóm bằng đầu đây chỉ quý trí cho thả và châu từ thọ tiền thì sẽ có cô nào lúc nào biết sự đời tua biết những bao tàu tiền lúc nào biết bỏ ở tiền gì tuaอยากกินยันยันbiết bao nọ thì giờ tôi một từ yêu kiếnยันยันbiết chỉ học qua hỗ lử lấy từ cho phát của gì chuyện hành sư biết cũng mua cho xử lý black light này là nói như thuộc ba bên đi à Tết mua cho nhất đầu Minnesota xử lý cho chế năng tàu trả là một trong số cái tu kiến sự của nhà kinh doanh như nào Tết mua xử lý community dễ dàng cho cái là một tàu trả của nhà thổ bếp bỏ hay là tu kiến sự của là tàu trả lúc nào có đầu nó chỉ là chờ cái dễ dàng sự cái chờ cái tụ chúng trong 我要 Mayor Carter， 北影叫读透读件事，我要 Henry Axel， 北影我叫陆地主，三个个拉木提考，给家政，家家一个好读件事。北影有托来莫给地主托被他这边面路蒙的被地主，个 Mayor Carter。 Tiếp thôi tục chẳng sự Henry là của tí dùng cho phó xua hay cho cái gì tàu ta sẽ nên nào có gì tàu giải các nhân dân mà muốn nó biết chờ nên sẽ được tua dưới những bộ căn gì tí nâng là căn gì nâng của nên chế nâng tàu plá ít nâng nên lúc tàu gì cho tới mà dùng ý dạng rồi gì gì ta thế nào ấy bên nào gì cho nên sẽ được lọt thả mình chỉ lâu cho rằng để cho kiến gì hiện gì rồi, hay để cho kiến gì lúc năng trong nó, mò xia lực rồi bông cùng mà, mò bội chả. Tiệp quý cho chuẩn gì cho nếu sĩ và tụ là chế lưu cho xa America và mang tệ đồ hả nào.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Nelsie Yang. I'm the council member in St. Paul Ward 6, so this right here is Ward 6 where I represent, and I want to welcome you to the east side of St. Paul. I am the first Hmong American woman and also the youngest person elected to the St. Paul City Council. It is an honor to be here with all of you today. However, I wish that we were all here under better circumstances. We are here because Ye Xiong, a Civil War veteran and an elder in our community, a community member was killed unjustly by St. Paul police officers. And I am here because I am furious. How many of you are furious too? Yes. I am so grateful to Ye Xiong's family members that after you have gone through such a traumatic experience that you have lost your loved ones, you are moving forward with courage to fight and make sure that no one has to go through this again. And all of us know that what happened to Ye was not in isolation. It is something that has happened over and over and over again. And I know we have so many people in this room who have fought against police brutality for decades, for years and years, and we're still keeping up the fight because we will not fight until we get justice. Are you there with me?
That's right. Yeah.
So today, along with Ye Xiong's family members, we also have an amazing community coalition that has come together to also fight alongside the family and fight for all lives that have been lost by the police. We have Black Lives Matter Minnesota. Let me hear you all make some noise for them. Families supporting families against police brutality. Communities united against police brutality. We also have my council office, along with Councilmember Mita Jalali, who represents Ward 4, and Councilmember Russell Ballinger, who represents Ward 1, who is a part of this coalition too. Let's also give them a clap. Because we know we have this coalition because we cannot fight this alone. It is going to take all of us. And for those of you who are part of an organization, a nonprofit, an activist group, I welcome you to be a part of our coalition. You can contact one of our organizers to let us know that we can officially sign you on. Leaders just like you. For you to share your story with all of us and to talk about what police reform looks like to you, what police accountability looks like to you. Because after this, community organizers will be consolidating all of that information, putting together a slate of community recommendations and delivering it directly to St. Paul Mayor Melvin Carter and also our St. Paul Police Chief, Axel Henry. And we will demand and we will continue to fight until we get justice. So your truth deserves to be heard today, and the truth should inform total policy and systems change. And for that reason, you will see that we have elected officials, candidates in the room tonight. And for those of you who do have that hat on, I ask that you stay in the back of the room so that we can prioritize chairs for our community members and families who have experienced so much loss in their lives. So thank you everyone for being here.
And our next guest speaker, she is from the Community United Against Police Brutality. I welcome Michelle Gross.
Welcome everyone. I'm so pleased to see so many people from our community here. We've got a packed room and that's really, really good because that's what we actually need. We need everybody to come forward and step up to help this family and to help the community. Most people do not realize that the St. Paul Police is actually the deadliest police department in the state. 45 people have lost their lives to the St. Paul Police Department since the year 2000. Did you know that? 45 people. You probably haven't heard most of the names, but we still stand with all of those families because we cannot allow this to continue. Mr. Xiong shouldn't have died. He was in a situation where he had an edged weapon. But the reality is that the defense for an edged weapon is distance and barriers. He was going in his house. He was closing the door. He was far from the police, far enough that had they let him simply close the door, he would have survived. The police chose to close the distance and remove the barrier. And because they did that, they then used the position of putting themselves into peril as the excuse to justify what they did to him, and that is so wrong. We cannot allow this to continue. There are solutions, and I'm so happy that we have public officials here to hear some of this. It's especially important. Nelsie Yang has played an amazing role in this community, this coalition. She's played an amazing role doing this organizing. And other city council members are here. But where's the police chief? Where's the mayor? When are they going to accept responsibility for what their police do? It's so important that we demand actual solutions and not just, here's another case where we yell for justice and justice doesn't happen. This is not acceptable. We cannot allow this to continue. On the table here in the front, we have put a list, a summary of our demands related to police reforms. We have a more filled out report on our website of these police reforms. There are solutions. There are solutions. We have to demand the political will for those solutions to be adopted. And that's the problem. There hasn't been a political will to adopt those solutions. And until we have that political will, we will have unqualified St. Paul police going to a Hmong elder's home who didn't hear and couldn't speak the language, and basically doing whatever they did, closing up that gap and killing this man who should never have been killed. We have to push for those solutions. And so I stand with you today. I'm very proud to stand with the community and to bring all of our resources and knowledge that we can bring to the table to help. But we want to see a solution. Thank you.
And be in support of the Hmong community and make some changes for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go to the next one, I just want to acknowledge that we have Front Lions of Judah's Armed Office.
Continuing to kill indigenous, aboriginal people and people of color and all nations of people every day in our community. And brothers and sisters, and I'm calling you brothers and sisters because we are all one and we're stronger together. That's right. Unity is power. Amen. Unity is power. This is what they fear right here. It's unity. And we will stand with the family until you receive the justice that you deserve. Because that beloved elder does not deserve to have his life taken the way that it was when he was behind a closed door. And then you break into his door, and as he comes out of the apartment building, then you shoot him dead. Because they don't care about the life of none of us. So police reform is what needs to take place. Police reform is what needs to take place. And Mayor Carter and Governor Watts, they need to speak up about what's taking place and make this evil, demonic, wicked police officer be charged and convicted for the murder that he just done to this beloved elder. Thank you.
With the police, and they want to push me to be a criminal, but at least I handled well under pressure. And I'm sorry that my uncle had to suffer for everyone's loss. You know, so, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that, your story. Thank you for sharing that with us. Can I have from this side first? Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Most of you guys probably don't know me, or probably never seen me before. My name is Junior Vu. The brother of Sergio Vu, who was another victim to police brutality back in 2019. It is very unfortunate that here we are again, brothers and sisters. When are we going to wake up? When are we going to realize that this is a heartbreaking? I am beyond terrified. No offense. I am beyond scared. I have vengeance. I'm angry. Okay? That is how I really feel. First of all, thank you to the organizer, selective official, community leaders, brothers and sisters, Black Lives Matter, and Black Panthers, showing support to our community. Much appreciated. And my biggest condolences go to the immediate family. I know how you feel. I was there. I'm still here. I know how that feels. And here's my message to Mayor and the Chief of Police of St. Paul. Show us the protocol, the procedure of how you deal with crisis. Show us, we demand that. I demand that. How is this not a problem? When an elderly man, 65 years old, living by himself in a senior care facility, you barge in, kick in the door, provoke the guy to come out and shoot him. I demand that they give us the protocol, the procedures on that. If that is the case that they do in every situation, let's go back in records. Let's go back in history. How many people did they pursue and they did not kill? Either see them in the St. Paul alone. Let's see it. Prove it. Let's be transparency. Okay? This continue to be the cascade of oppression. Continue to be a cascade of police brutality. Thank you for uniting tonight. The work is not done. It is a steep hill. It's very slippery, very raining, and there's a big elephant in the way. So, fight hard. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hi, so I'm really young. I'm just a kid here, and Thank you. I'm just a kid here, and my family always grew up telling me to keep my head down and to be a good girl, so that so that nothing bad happens to me. And I never really understood why. As I've gotten older and I got a job, I was always treated like I wasn't educated. And I didn't understand why. And my family told me, just laugh it off. Don't take it personally. Do a good job and be a good girl. When I had a family reunion at Unison, when I exited to get ready to go on the highway to go home, I immediately got pulled over. One officer, a male, came out and asked if I had been drinking, and I said I was just fine. And he told me to go in to check my BAC, and he called for backup. Another car came with 2 other men, and I was by myself. And 3 tall men looked at me like I was a threat. Seeing the video of Xiong, I wanted to believe that our department is here for us and to protect us. But when I watched the video, I realized that our senior was prejudged to be a threat, like how I was prejudged to be a threat. And it's not only just our seniors that are facing Asian hate crimes, but it will also be me when I'm 62. And that's what I'm terrified about. This cannot be a license or a certificate anymore. It should be a 4-year degree. It should be a long interpersonal, intercultural degree. Because I don't want to have to go through that again. Do I look like a threat?
No. Thank you. Go ahead.
I'm a little tall for this mic. Hi, everybody. My name is Emma Peterson. I'm a volunteer with Communities United Against Police Brutality. I got into this movement because when I was in high school, I was a member of the Minneapolis Youth Explorers Program, the Police Explorers Program. So that's a youth program for kids that are interested in law enforcement. And what I wanted to share with you guys is about how I was trained. They trained me, gave me law enforcement training, and how this speaks to the situation. So when I was in that Explorers program, I was taught to treat everybody as a threat. I was taught to treat elderly people as a threat. I was taught to treat pregnant women as a threat. It didn't matter who that person was. That's how we train police officers, is to treat everybody as a threat. So when we're talking about these ideas of how to give these officers more training, well, the St. Paul Police Department is one of the most trained police departments in this state. There's a problem with how we're training them. And I want to talk a little bit about the law when people use deadly force in Minnesota. And across the country, actually. So when officers use deadly force, they are to be judged against what's called a reasonable police officer standard. So when conversations about what happened to Yia are coming up, they are going to view this as, was that officer acting reasonably? And the law typically gives deference to those officers, but I want us as a community to think very critically about this, because that law can be used against them. What they are judged on is their actions and the totality of the circumstances. Totality of the circumstances means everything that the officers knew at the time that they arrived to that building. We need to demand that they release the 911 call, because that is not public information. We need to know what exactly was in that 911 call and what those two officers knew when they arrived. Because visually, watching that video, they came upon a crowd, an excited crowd that was worried, that was telling them to go into the building and please hurry. The crowd wanted help. But when they got in there, what did they see when they saw Yia? He was standing there calmly talking to somebody else. He was not a threat. I saw no knife in his hand. When the officers walked up, he calmly walked away down that hallway, and they pursued him. They escalated him.
That's right.
That's right.
So what we need to do is demand that 911 call. We need them to prove that their officers acted reasonably, because from what I saw, what we all saw, there was no reasonable action taken by those officers. There was no presence of training in those minds. They did not treat them like a human being. They didn't even treat them like I would see in, the law enforcement training that I got. So demand that footage. Thank you.
Nó đây nó tôi share của giờ thì là nó của giờ hay là mong sư vì quyền mong nè của tôi share thì cho ta luôn là mò bé tôi trong này trong gì tua bớt chơi tua đây là tôi để sư chọn đến để chọn chia tua bớt chơi khó có xã hay thì khởi tua nó vì giờ nó giấy tu nó lúc cao của ba nó chửi đi cả và xe nhau tổ hồ của chị mình chọn nhau rồi nhau là khổ tệ giờ này tôi nói tôi mà trên chỉ là bé trên mông trong đi cả đấy chị cái chuyện hôn nó lấy chậu cho chậu để tua cho tua chia sẻ họ là họ bé chỉ qua đi đó lên tất cả tua thổi lên tua giờ nó bây giờ lên tua lấy nghề lên chỉ là chỉ không giờ này giấy tu sẽ lên gì vì chợ đó bé trên này mong chợ đó trên này mình cả qua nó chỉ tua đi để gì cho họ là sau đó tết cho mình cả nó giờ này nó hôn nó họ cũng bỏ giờ này cho chỉ ra cho ta luôn nó nhau họ xã nó rồi họ police department nó đi có chồng rồi cho ta luôn nó là mộtตัวที่นั่นnó là do hai tiếng này giờ khi sở kia là do để tụ personal identity là do tụi những dạng kia bừng mình cho tua thì theo lịch sử tụi sinh thành phố một đi nó giờ này nó của tụ xe theo chỉ xe của nó sẽ cho chỉ tàu cho mỏ xe của lộ hải một đi nó này sẽ của chồng.
Right?
Hi everybody, my name is Maddie. Emma is my sister. Her and I were actually in the Police Explorers together in the Minneapolis Police Department. And then I continued on and I was a community service officer with Bloomington, Minnesota and Minneapolis. And I trained a lot with St. Paul as well. And I have about 10 years of experience if we want to do volunteer and working in the department. And what I learned is that I'm not the right kind of blue. They are training these officers to not be a part of our community. They are training these officers to be bullies. They are, training people to, excuse my language, but to get your bitch on. I remember I was 15 years old and I was asking please for a driver's license in a scenario. And the officer pulled me aside and he said, no, you can't ask please and thank you have to demand. And that's what these officers are training our community who's going in to try to make a difference. They want to demand. When I looked at the video, it looks like a scenario that I had been through once before. And unfortunately, they are training our officers to take their guns out when they see a knife. And that's how they're training. So if we want to talk about our training, we need to get into the reality of how they're training us. Because if they see a gun, if they see a knife, they're going to immediately take that out. And one of the main things that they train you is to go home at the end of the night to see your family. But they're not telling these officers to go home so all of the community can go home safe, just them, to their families. And I think we need to really redirect how they're training that way. I also want to just point out the dispatch. The dispatch is very, very important because that's the first thing that our officers hear. So if they are hearing there is a gun, if they are hearing there is a knife, their level of how they're going to, level of stress, I guess is the best way to put it, that's going to go way, way up, right? They're going to come in and they're going to be aggressive and they're going to get their guns out. So how we train our dispatchers is very important too. Our dispatchers need to be able to make sure that they are getting the right information out because honestly, they're also killing us too. So I'm so sorry for your loss. My condolences are with the family. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is David Akas. I am a community organizer on the East Side, and I'll be honest, I don't think the police can be reformed, and I don't think we should have them in our community. Seriously, there's no reason why armed officers should be responding to any of the things police are called to respond for. And St. Paul already did a study on unarmed response and mental health responders. Why don't we have them? Why are we still spending $130 million on police every year and nothing on actually supporting people? We need healthcare, we need housing, and I think if we give people what they need, we don't need cops terrorizing us and terrorizing our city. I don't think cops are the answer. I think we have better answers, and we need to start bringing those up. I think we keep focusing on abolition, decarceration, and forget cops. We don't need them. Societies have existed without them. Yeah, that's it.
Lo. Hào lúc mày có phỏng vấn được tên là sao? Ý nghĩa giá tầm tên này cả là sắp bỏ từ
Lo. Cú giờ bà mang thọ nữa. Nó à ta bù lì mấy tụ mông vô về trong tụ có chịu. Hai tụ bê tụ mông mò xa tụ ngầu lì. Họ nó giờ tên mày mông á cho bù lì nữa. Ê giờ lên bê cho bù lì hai chua tụ nữa. Mấy giờ mông bê giờ mông tụ mà bê giờ mông bè mà. Bê xí bê cho trẻ nó mà. Cho lò xí u nó. Cho bê cho America chua tụ nữa. Giờ bù bê mông là giờ bỏ ọc ế chờ nó nào hụt bù lì tụ nó chứ. Bê giờ mông yếu tụ tụ thầm mông lì. Giờ lên nó hạt bê giờ cái mông có bao ta bê ở chỗ cho nên cho America bê ở chỗ CIA cho secret go to Pakistan nó ta I somebody years old I work in America in Laos 1961 to 1973 75 giờ lên nó hạt chỗ này cho America bao ta why bê ở chỗ lúc tí chiều nó bê một bê cho một bộ lúc tí chiều bò tàu trả communist cho Việt Nam nữa đấy, họ nói là tên mày mông, giờ nó bây giờ chơi tổ bây giờ tổ, nhau lúc đấy chơi America lúc đấy chơi nó bây giờ tổ, bây giờ tổ bây giờ chủ là giờ bây giờ trong chơi này cho nó America nó hùng police tổ nó bây giờ làm gì, bây giờ mong cho mình mong tổ bắt chết ta, bây giờ chơi đó giờ lúc này là mong trong chơi na, ý là cố hà cho bây giờ mong xóa tổ, mấy cho bắt thằng sấy này. Mấy tôi bây giờ tụi nhau không nó the mong president mong là mong yang một chỗ tụ mong cho một chỗ president là em mấy lúc có gì xảy nó được ha why is it a council how many okay nó bé yo chủ sĩ luôn Giờ bé chỉ siêu luôn không? Cũng đúng này là mong tụi bây giờ tụi nhau mình tập mà bị mẹ bởi vì bao đồ nát thế. Nó làm từ bao tuần đầu từ bao tuần tập cũng mất chả跑做大了。nó thì bé cho mong xin lưu chỉ chọn. Giờ lên nó hạt cho mong. Nó mong yêu chủ bao là bé ý kiến này mà chờ ra bé ba America, thọ bé tôi chủ America lúc tí chờ bé ô nào chứ, đâu tụi mình cho lòng ô nào chứ nó nè. Giờ nên nó ba má tao thằng cô hôm nào chứ tên này chăng bé yêu chủ siêu luôn chủ kế trong chủ bé nhau chỉ sao lại nó giờ này mong tuổi tuổi là ô giờ mẹ mà được khám mà tôi chỉ chạy bỏ này rồi chàng rồi không nó giờ tên mày mong giờ này cũng rồi xa tàn nó bé chủ còn rồi bé giờ mong I not speak English and speak more because the old man the old man or woman not speak English and translate to the Hmong people giờ này nó có hạt cho bé cháu nó xin luôn đó ô cháu bé cháu của mẹ là ô sao nó thứ giảm lòng một đứa mẹ cháu nó mẹ xin luôn rồi bé xin luôn bé giờ tao con mong ô cháu
thank you.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can pick up the microphone.
All right, cool. Hi, I'm Jerome. It's kind of nervous.
But with disability, Ginalu, Gipaulo, Gijunachi, Polimutua, Janay, I'm not your wrongdoing from the police. Police what Giala. Police to know ya, you take to pass the name. That's it, too much the name the tour to name the Michipanachi, and you nyai linda, a gay to tour. Kumo experience, Pupi Janning Law, one no Janning Law. They know one teen and who was that no got what to talk more she. The young Lorena, bully you to talk out, bully you to talk about a minority, about every culture, about so the lune, bully Chipano, Chitao, bully or Chitao, bully hard, Lorena no more picking and Chipao not to one, Kano your gear, bully you to Tsoom. Pay you to come out of bully no, Jamon. Trao chế na, hoping more community. Đi từ sáu tua, đi thay cái mong tua ye Xiong, ya tua mong nè, good job.
Hello everyone, former State Representative John Thompson. I can remember 2016 because I was just looking at the pictures here. We were here at the East Side Library and we were discussing the same thing, post Philando Castile. We were discussing how to reform police. We even had the police chief come here and talk about training, and they had a brand new training facility right down the street from here. We also had the police chief come here and talk about, we got these new body cameras that the police, we're paying for, by the way. So my ask, because they said to make sure you come with tangibles, is to ask the mayor and the city to stop lying to us and telling us that we don't see what we see on these videos. Because what you said, I'm supposed to see, I didn't see. I did not see a man lunge at a police officer with a knife, like you said in the movie. Let's be clear. I did not see a man lunge at a police officer. And we pay for those body cam videos. We pay for those body cameras, so stop lying to us. So make sure you put that on there. Stop lying to us and trying to cover up police-involved killings. Second thing, you said come with tangibles. We were here again in 2017, 2018, right post Cordell Handy. And we were talking about the same thing. How do we better police? We need better training. We need mental health training. We need training. But we have a brand new training facility that's over $30 million right down the street from here. It's not going to ever happen. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Martin Luther King and Malcolm X was right here before us talking about police reform and how we fix police. They're not going to be fixed unless you eliminate the culture of racist policing and racist police officers within the police department all across, not only this state, but all across the United States of America. And seeing that
Minneapolis and Minnesota is like always the epicenter for some of the most horrific police-involved killings. You think that legislation and legislators will make it a priority to put police reform. I'm not going to celebrate the Crown Act. I'm not going to celebrate driver's license for all, and I'm not going to celebrate restorative vote because we should have had that a long time ago. George Floyd died 2 years ago. Now here we are again, and we're going to be here again this year. Mark my words. We're going to be here again this year until the state sees fit to stop with the PPP, and that's politicians being pumped by police unions in this state. Love you.
Thank you. Jack.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the organization that making the meeting tonight, and I'm glad that I can come here. I come from a meeting, and the other meeting, so I'm just make a point here. I see the room that is very inspiring, and I want to make a point that my children at home, I live in North Minneapolis, and that I tell my children that when you see something happening, please don't call the police. Let me know first, because my concern is that we call police, and they're coming not to protect, they're coming to kill. So I think that something's wrong, and I'm telling my kid that this day is very hard to deal with the law enforcement. I do respect the law enforcement. That's a job in the community, in society. We need protection. We need protection. We need law enforcement. The thing is something wrong. I make a couple points that what I see in the video in YouTube, that I see that Xiong is not posing a threat. I think something happening in the community, something happening in the home, something happened that a lot of people had the party, that the police come in. I see that it's not de-escalate. They come in, outside, and I can see that escalate. The police come and escalate the situation and making the situation worse. So that's one of the point. The other point I want to make that is not the last resort. I think that's not the last resort to kill. So there's an opportunity. There's opportunities to prevent the killing. That's what I see in the video. So I just make a point to support the rally, and I think that it's truly we need law enforcement to reform. We need law enforcement in society, in the community, but we need to make sure that we got protection, not to kill. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a reminder, we have about 20 minutes left. Go ahead.
As I spoke before, I'm Emilia Rodriguez, and I've always worked with the Latino community, Spanish-speaking immigrant community. And I just want to say for my own part that my house was burglarized twice this past year. And when I called for the police, unfortunately, they could not come. And I had to do a report over the phone, which did nothing to reassure my family in our situation at either moment. So I'm a person who feels like too bad there wasn't enough police that could come out in those moments to reassure us that we mattered and we were important. And I just also want to say that having worked with immigrants from all parts of very, very, very parts of poor Latin America, I've heard so many stories of brutality of neighbor to neighbor within the family, where they kill each other with machetes, other things. And there is no police to call at all. It does not even exist. Or a phone, anything. And your maybe distant cousin who macheted everybody to death is still your neighbor, and nothing's gonna ever be done about it. So we do need police. I know that after my work, I learned these things incredibly stretched to my head. But I do want to say also that I think that on an appropriate level, you know that man should not have been killed, for having a knife, even if he did have a knife, in no shape, manner, or form. And I do want to say that the one time I went to Canada, it felt like such a different world, different country. And it's because nobody's allowed to have a gun, including the police. And maybe this is the real solution, that too many angry people have guns, and they take advantage at times of the innocent, whether it's a police officer or someone. And certainly my Latino clients were preyed upon so often because they knew that these people worked and they had cash in their pockets. And so the criminals came down on them like vultures on prey. And then they could not even take their part to speak against them. And once again, they got victimized.
Thank you.
Horrible.
Okay. Rong Sha nó cái rong Sha nó cũng cho là cái gì mình số lên số tụ tụ nó cái nó có ý dạng cái ta tu sát cái cầu cho bé trẻ mong ok cho là cái gì mình số lên số tụ bé cái mong cho lên số lên số tụ bé bún đồ in đồ có dầu cái trâu cho tôi kiến sự tôi à mình tôi bù à bây giờ số tụ bé mong hạt lan chỉ pin mong chỉ lệ vì bé mong số lên số tụ họ nói chuyện của mong cái cho họ phơi thế nào ok của chuyện lan chỉ đạo nè vì bé mong số lên số tụ bé số còn lại chỉ sử dụng giàu nè ok vì lý do của hai lên ta của cô bù số còn là cho cái video sự khó cái ta có mong protect à rồi gọi là bé chợt là họ chờ nữa nè cú sáng của bé cứ tìm mong nhau về số ta chờ để của nó vì tụi mong lũ cha nè ok vì tụi mong lũ cha nè tụi chúng mình nhau một cái tê của cô bù mẹ mong protect thì chợt là họ chờ cú sáng của bé cho mong nhau về số ta nó bé ôi nhặt là chỉ sáng của bé số lên số tụ bé tổ chỉnh bờ chỉnh ta nè ok họ nói bé sang một tụi làm tụi dù nè bây giờ ta bé số ở bé tụ nhớ cho sau sai word các class cái họ nói sau lại tao sẽ lôi cho tôi nền lôi chỉ sai bé nào ok mà cú sáng của bé bù ý dạng lôi hay tôi nền ý dạng ta BLM nè tao bùa tao bùa cộng sát ta ok bùa nhớ là lúc stay là bùa chỉ giang tôi có thể nó nè sáng của bé nhớ cho nó cú nhìn nó tại mình trông này nhớ cho mình sẽ ta nó hết ok thì cú sáng của bé kia con nền do ta có protect nó chữ tại tôi sáng của mẹ bé nè bé mong của bố ta là hay rong nè ok giờ bé chỉ sử dụng một ta một chỉ sai bé là cái này gì lên đó ok
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for holding the space. I really appreciate it. And Council Member Nelsie was one of my former students. My name is Brian Xiong, Dr. Brian Xiong. I'm a professor teaching race, ethnic study, and racism in America. I also have family members who are also police officers, but I just want to straight this to all the students or those who want to become police. If you work in the community, get to know the community.
That's right.
And if you work with the community to protect the community, and your excuse is, I fear for my life, then get a new job.
That's right.
Thank you. My name is Paul Xiong. I've been here in the state for 45 years. Next year will be my 46th year living here. I got a message to say something, I think, I believe that the police, St. Paul police, they are very aggressive, they have power. And they're in uniform, the blue uniform. They have power. Once they come to you, I saw many times in my lifetime here, they have gun and they draw the gun if they flashlight on you. Remember, this happened to Xiong, it will happen to you. So all of you, we come together, we have to say something. So the police use power, like abuse, screaming, very strong, and plus they had gun. So what I'm saying is we got to work together as a community here, okay? So thank you.
Hello, nhớ trong nè, quý vị mai Chong Xiong, quý vị từ County Commissioner, nhớ trong District 6 no. I'm Mai Chong Xiong. I get to represent District 6, part of the East Side here. And nó của tôi từ xuyên cho từ 9 giờ nó núi trên này. Quý vị từ Sài Gòn mới trong thế thì quý vị mua xuyên từ xuyên. yet was basically hunted down.
True.
He was hunted down like an animal, given no opportunity to respond. And he could have been my father. He could have been my mother. He could have been your mom or your dad, your loved ones. So we have to think about safety, what safety truly is. What gives me hope in us coming here together is that Black, brown, Asian people are coming together. Let's not wait anymore about saying, where's Black Lives Matter at? They've been there. They're tired. They need us. This is, yes. Only solidarity will change the systems here.
Yes.
We cannot rely on just the police to keep us safe. What keeps us safe is having stable neighbors, right? Having affordable housing, making sure that people have access to health care and good paying jobs. So I just want us to think that we have to think safety beyond just policing. And this won't be the last time. We'll not change our copy or pushing Jilly no. Good change to the you more ning your community no able your toy zino. Good yin pound not on the lola. I worked on the body cam resolution before St. Paul Public Police took that on. And they fought us. They weren't ready, right? But it's because it was such a critical mass in the organizing that happened that made it happen, okay? But as you know, that's not gonna save us. We need reform, and we must stand in solidarity and continue to show up. Thank you.
Cho trong mong số đó nữa, lưu America của bao vị trí tại sự cố ý cho hai lưu America trong này số đó họ chỉ trong bao chỉ America trong bao bé trong họ giờ bé chỉ ba chỉ bé thì ở tới trong bao họตั้งมันเป็นหมอขอเนี่ยhọ béเขาที่อีgiờ béตัวตัวbéถึงgiờ vị tríจ้าgiờ vị tríจะพอชาจะพอตอนจะอีนอจอนแอฟกันนี่ก็ involve สำหรับจอจะไปเจอเราจัว我这边叫蒙多，也得叫了做，我长得都搞白熊木上，就我谈搞白熊木上，搞就去熊，白多了，白叫奇葩多，要领导叫民用做，多一张呢叫做哪呢？白叫多少的对呢？头白多之前呢，那顶白还知道别的是可能是，要领导那天晚上才搞到了主都搞能别还知道了都，白叫的多少的对前呢，你白还是给不给多。头多少的钱了，一那到容那一那到容早年的，第二是讲要中的叫美国的叫大超的John F 的，老木叫拜登，老木叫内股叫那大超被所招所得所点来浪茶第样搞了只要点楼点的浪茶了点了，被了浪茶了浪茶的比较茶是第样的，被因为。说的那被人我啥解释了着，要比人家叫他们落到了天末家要多被去帮财，其他的呢，所以看起要好一点。那叫蒙面都叫看了娃母后的后叫还点火那，在种包了家其实都还做农夫种包了这几个都没还那么好叫好了他叫那时都那么种包了还高干了，要这这种包了这其他的。因为不上了之后 ，Facebook 都明也是带过的，我的发搞这还得搞这的，好像咱们我那些咱们都发了，咱解释刚刚接过来多，搞也不提二来这国际嘛，这么发小这湖南，都明嘛那，不管路快是这样，都明呀，不明呀，湖南还是国，要那个那要种还得种包也被种的是好赔，祈求了，这被也得被去种地，把它大家有这样的被这种不种 thọ chỉ luôn là một nền mò xia cổ tệ của trong phong là tiền từ chầu cho một cái chỉ nhận những lúc chỉ cho trò nữa từ yên cái tiền yên này cái lỗ bỏ thì bây giờ từ bây giờ này long này một cái tiền chỉ ta cái là sự từ không từ ta cũng là ta chỉ可以说说bây giờ东西bây giờ同时啊知道的mò xia呢我中phong mò xia呢工作那天被成中phong工业风险嘛叫被西班呢哎我找
我见我多好讲上海很多mà nó của nó xia hay thì bây giờ nâng cái tin nâng trà cũng lúc cũng xong chế nâng mong tôi xin chỉ họ mà bây giờ tôi cái ông xia bây tôi cái tôi xia nè thì giờ oli của ta thấy những hay họ mong lại mẹ rồi nè giờ nó cũng thọ chờ đồng mong nè xử lý của tao khu chờ mong tôi chơi tôi chơi mong nó không chữ nó chờ mong một số chuyện mong nhân đạo ở chỗ chơi nèแต่ฉันนอนจะใจละชอบน้าคอมเพลชอบน้าไทยเนี่ยต่อฟิวชอบวันหนอนนะตื่นละวันหนุ่มนะโอเคยังมีตื่นละวันหนุ่มนะไม่ใช่ตัวคนหนุ่มนะไอ้ที่วันหนอนนี่นะต่อเอาเรียนนี่นะคอมเพลซึ่งในเจชีเวอร์นะเจนู้นนอนเพลนี่จะไทยเพลนี่รู้สึกน้าขึ้นเดียวทำไมล่ะตื่นละวันหนุ่มเนาะตื่นละวันหนุ่มไอ้ที่ใช้ไปกว่ามัวจะโอเคนะนู้นนอนไปคนเดียวเก่งจังอย่างร้อนปวดยาbây giờ bao ta kỳ tới rồi lấy lúc nào lấy toán của giờ là tới ta kỳ lấy tôi có tôi cũng lên tiêu bao ok vì bây giờ chiều mình cả đó này thì bây giờ như này là những ngày nào thì của hai nên nó sẽ qua thì bây giờ nó
But I am Xiong, and each and every one of you in this room is Xiong too. We're all targets. We got targets on our back. And all I wanted to say is that we need to hold the two officers, including the other officers that were along with them, accountable. They need to be locked up. And I also wanted to say that it's time, y'all. It's time for all of us to stop being in bed with the cops. Cho cái我背起他去考那个当落，去当 mayor， 去当 governor， cho背路家了，背有主刀身，给老头，老师叔就令我去要到背，还梦背到空运，背到精神，背到人，把那几样也上，女农几样那个 ，OK。Lastly, I just wanted to say, we need everybody on the streets. Each and every one of y'all to be on the streets with me, with the folks that organize this. We cannot wait anymore. This is our time. So we need to abolish the police today.
Thank you, and thank you for the encouragement as well. Okay. So we don't have anybody from this side? You guys are good? Okay, thank you.
Hello? You guys hear me okay? Nhớ trong cái trọng của team phong kia, nice to see everybody here and nice to meet all you guys. I'm pretty new to this, so it's gonna be a little bit out of the ordinary. But cú sa hai ở bên lòng lồng mông rồi bên chủng mông ok. Bên mình nhớ chủ kia rồi tuổi rồi sư. Bên tôi nhớ lòng tôi dùng lòng su, bên giờ chủ cỡ một cố chủ. Bên giờ tôi chưa cử thể, tôi chưa cử rong, nhớ tôi rong chả. Bên đầu nhà nhớ nhà giờ có bên giờ chủ có thể nhà bự đi chả, nhà nọ đi chả, nhà lì hiển đi chả. Bên có yêu bao prevent yêu thủ khăn. Bên yêu xe ba tàu yêu hay nè, bên yêu xe lì chỉ thở tăng mà. Họ nói là ít họ bây giờ tôi hiểu được. Họ có ở tôi bây chồng mong nè. Tôi nhớ về chỉ cho chúng. Bây giờ để tôi đào tới lawyer, we all success, we all make business and we all become millionaire, we all success. No. For success, yeah, have the right leadership. Bây mong giờ tôi reform, cái leadership. Leadership that fight for you. Leadership that solve problem for you. Leadership that care about you, care about your future, about your life, Okay, chỉ là cái leadership tôi nói họ đi theo hậu trợ theo cho có thể lúc trợ nó tại cái lúc trợ đó tôi lúc trợ bề xưa. What kind of leadership is that? What kind of leadership is that? You have to think about it. So it's time to go back to your Hmong community and reform your leadership so that you can minimize the problem. Bây giờ nhau tao lúc đấy chờ nó chờ lâu tới giữa đầu ta chờ lùa là chờ giữa nhiều tua. Now is the time for you to be leadership. You don't wait for somebody who don't know nothing. Okay? You don't wait for somebody who don't have love for you. Okay? Bây giờ lúc nào cô hãy thay đổi trong mình chỉ nó sẽ cái sẽ thì cái mong yếu giờ đây giờ nó cái ôi dân thiết sử rồi cái ok cập. Someday you will become somebody. Okay? Thì trong sen chỉ này sẽ đợi tao vào chụp phim công mong được cái chọn nó. Nên cho cái tự sinh, nên cho cái sự nghiệp. Vì để phần nó giờ hai đứa cũng nói chỉ ok. Sai tiền, giờ tao tự cái tay thì cái yon đó. Thì giờ đi nó bây giờ chủ sở ok, bây giờ kia tao đó luôn. So if I hear the message today, if we divide it, we will fall. So let's stand together and fight for change. Is that what we are looking for? What is his name? What is his name? Repeat it again. Say it from the heart. What is his name? Look at Hanita. What is his name?
Để xin nói chè cái giờ bài tao nhỏ ha. Cứ xin cho cá ta em một tao nhỏ nè. Chị cứ còn phố là sơ sinh nó hơi giỏi cứ tự chế cứ giờ một tao nhỏ hết chị. Tất cả mặt chế nè. Đi trong khi hơn chú bé chỗ tao cá sẽ tao lâu nội dung đây cho nó trong khi nè. Mà nói chị của cho mấy lần chị sau khỏi meeting đi nó xứ em bé mà lại xin shit đâu là nó sẽ hả nó